What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 78, 79.
Season 3.
No, shut up. wait, Mike, which is it? 78?
79?
Okay, so clearly we lost count, guys. Anyways, we don't have any. We're not going to.
3.
You confuse things. So, guys, no early bit because we're running out of things to do. So we're going to get right to jiu-jitsu. This is what we're here for. So, guys, today what we thought about is maybe we do defense against OMOPLATA. Okay? If you want the offensive side, more of the offensive side, go to TriStar Gym channel. Firas Zahabi and I did a video a couple months ago on OMOPLATA. There's a video there that's fairly long. I think it's at least half an hour long, if not 50 minutes long. And then there's another one, premium, supposedly, that's on jujiclub.com. Okay, and that's there's another OMOPLATA video with Firas and I, but that focuses on the offensive side. So today we're gonna focus on defensive side, guys. Start to comment and ask questions specifically which scenarios interest you the most. All right. So Enrique puts me in trouble in his guard.
Do it for the viewers.
All right, so guys, anytime. So yesterday was a very interesting question. For example, like how do I deal with the split guard? If he puts me in split guard, guys, I literally have no choice. I don't have time to put my knee up. If my knee was up, yeah, this is going to be a lot better to deal with. But if my knee is down, I'm in trouble. So basically, I have to give him something. I don't want to give him the short arm lock because that's very quick. I don't want to give him the triangle because that's much more difficult to escape. So what I will either do is I will either turn all the way away, which I'm giving him now inverted arm lock, or start or turn away a little bit and start to defend OMOPLATA. Okay? So when guys, understand that every one of these moves has a counter. So even though I'm on the defensive side, if he keeps progressing his position while I'm trying to explain this to you, I will go as you know what I do as soon as I defend. So guys, what I'm trying to do ideally is to go lined up with him. All right, so I will control his right leg at this point, and now what I'm going to try to do is put my head on the ground, and I want to go north-south, and then east or west, depending on which hand he has. This is the ideal situation. Okay? You know, ideal rarely happens because he's going to be countering at the same time. But let's look at it at the same time where you can actually effectively use OMOPLATA as a way to pass the guard. So I get put in trouble. This is immediately I turn away and I try to control his outside leg. Yeah. You holding on to my arm doesn't help you, it helps me though. I'm going to step over and I will continue to move around till I get. Yeah, you should have stretched. All right, guys, so that's an ideal scenario. Let's look at it again from the other side now. So again, passing guard. Another reason why I don't like passing guard on my knees because once I'm here, guys, I'm in trouble. So I'm going to try to control the outside leg. Step over. Guys, don't step here. Try to continue all the way perpendicular and then take out his arm. All right? Now, if things start to happen faster, you don't have time to walk around. If I have to roll, let's look at the roll first. So if I get in trouble, guys, and I need to turn away. Now, watch what happens. I want to make sure that I put my shoulder on the ground, my right shoulder. This is my right arm. Guys, do not do this. Do not jump forward. Because when you're rolling, to some extent, he controls the trajectory your body's going to take. So you may get pressure on your neck from rolling, and you're going to cause that yourself. So I put my outside hand on the floor. In this case, it's my left hand. Right shoulder goes on the ground. Look towards my feet. Guys, don't forget, look towards your feet and roll. Guys, right now, normally I will try to slow down my roll. Slow down your roll. Because now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to square up to him. This becomes a bit of a scramble, but it's way better than where I was. All right? So, again, another good example of omoplata being used by Enrique, not as necessarily as a submission because I escaped, but as a sweep. I wind up on the bottom. Okay? So again, I'm in trouble. So guys, if you want to just turn away. Put your outside hand on the floor to make sure you support your upper body, you support your neck. Your right shoulder goes on the ground. Then look towards your feet and roll. In the middle of the roll, guys, I try to square up to him. And now I'm going after him. Okay? Let's look at it from the other side. So I get in trouble. Head on the ground. Left shoulder on the ground because we're on the other side. My right hand goes on the floor. Look towards my feet. And then I just roll. Now, guys, in here, what I'm looking for, this is actually what I'm looking for. You rarely get it, but this is what I'm looking for. It's a thing of beauty if you could literally reverse the other guy's attack and turn it on its head. So I turn away, I roll. As I'm rolling, guys, I will try to pause sort of in the middle of it, and now I'm coming after him. If he turns away, I will reverse the triangle. All right? Guys, do we have any questions on those two so far?
Okay. We have some check-ins from Tokyo, Japan, Utah. We also have South Africa.
What's up, everybody? Do we have a check-in from Vernon?
And Finland.
New Jersey.
And Ryan D'Souza is asking.
Guys, it's an inside joke. I will explain it to you because I'm pretty sure when Mike was saying Vernon, he probably thought it was some foreign country, but it's Vernon, New Jersey, probably 20 minutes from this place. Right
you
here.
never know.
There is a Vernon, Virginia, too, though.
And Ryan D'Souza is asking, if you don't get the triangle, do you go to split guard?
No, not from that point. You don't have access to split guard because your hips are so too far up in the air. Yeah, that split guard is going to be hard from there because your hips are off the ground. So triangle is. That's what I aim for. If I can take the fact the guy put me in omoplata and I roll and put him in a triangle, it's a thing of beauty. Like who wouldn't want that? But in reality, that's not easy to get. But you will escape. You create a scramble, and you may very easily wind up back on top. So that is sort of one of the. When you get the roll, you wind up with a lot of different positions. It's just a function of how he's reacting, how quickly he's reacting, is he coming up. So you're going to wind up with a lot of different scrambles.
And James Bartko is checking it from Pittsburgh, PA Stout Training. Team Renzo Gracie says great stuff.
Thank you. So let's move on, guys. Let's look at a few other sort of scenarios. Guys, again, this one. So anytime I get in trouble, if I get in trouble, I'm giving him OMOPLATA. That's probably your best bet. Okay. I'm not saying it's not a good submission. It is a good submission. All right. So now when I roll, if I roll all the way through, I'm going to try to square up to him, but even if, guys, make sure you retract your hand from here. You're vulnerable to bicep crush. And I'm looking to get an underhook, and now I'm battling. You know, I kind of still in an inferior position, but you have to recognize that when you're in trouble and you have to give up a submission, give up the one that you have the easiest time escaping. Once you make that choice, now you know what you're doing, which submission you have to defend. Now go immediately into defensive mode. Deal with the submission first, body, positioning after. Because if you don't, you're going to be submitted. Unless the guy has really crappy OMOPLATA.
Anand is asking, Coach, when I try to sit up after catching OMOPLATA, some guys try to pick me up, like posturing up. I use my hamstring to keep them down with pressure. Is there any other way?
Yes. Go on the video with Firas or buy the video with Firas. I explained that in great detail, how to keep the big guy down. Unfortunately,
use promo code Silver Fox 5.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't have to lift the guys up. So that usually, yes, if you're over 200 pounds, you could probably just pick the guy up. I have brought many a guy way bigger than 200 pounds back down towards the floor, utilizing the secrets that I give away for free on the YouTube video with Firas, plus some additional ones that you get to buy on those videos. How to do that? How do you keep fighting to get the guy's head hit the mat? Once the guy's head is on the mat, you have won that battle. Not the war, but you won the battle. Now you can go into submission mode, okay? But defensively, a lot of guys will try to posture up. For me, that's not an answer. Usually, generally speaking, most people that I train with are either my size or bigger. Yeah, if it's somebody small, I'll just posture up and shake them off. But I always try to pretend that or prepare for going against the best guy I can imagine and the biggest guy I can imagine. Sometimes in the same package. So anyways, again, that scramble resulted in me being on the bottom of cross side. Let's just keep going through these scenarios. So again, guys, this is probably the most realistic escape. If I have to, just roll. Yeah, this is not a horrible scenario. Yeah, see how does it feel now that I keep progressing my position? How does that feel? Not good, right? So now he knows what it feels like when somebody's talking, he pauses, and I keep progressing my position because he keeps doing that to me all the time. So, but anyways, guys, now that scramble resulted in me. Again, he swept me, so in an IBJJF or other tournament scenario, he would have gotten points for the sweep, not the submission. So it's valuable in that sense. All right. So a lot of times, guys have kind of their. If I can jump, I will. If I can kind of hoist myself over, this is a thing of beauty. That's because his legs kind of stayed crushed toward one side. All right. So again, you try to, basically, I prepare. Once I get in trouble, I prepare. I give him the OMOPLATA, and I prepare for the roll. And off that roll, I will defend in a way that is most advantageous for me and most logical, because you're not always going to get exactly the same sort of look from your opponent. All right, so one more time. So if I can launch myself, this is a thing of beauty, you know. Again, not the easiest thing to do, but that is one of the options. But again, it all starts with the roll, because if you're slightly late and you're not prepared, then you're gonna get caught. So you have to prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Yes, guys.
And lots of peers asking, what if your opponent stops your roll?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I go with what I see. I'm still creating a scramble. So there's a lot of things. It's a little bit similar to the episode we did on sort of the I forget what we called it. You know, when the guy turtles you up, you kind of arch your back and then you fold. Yeah. So when he stops my roll, I treat it as if I'm caught in a turtle. Obviously, he still has my arm, but now I create a scramble again to see where I can create some openings. Again, now I start to create more micro openings as opposed to one big escape. So again, guys, when you work your defensive side, don't just work, sometimes one big escape is not possible. Just like one big submission is not possible. You have to attack in combinations. So you sort of defend in combinations. As if the problem is too big, you sort of start to cut it down to smaller problems, meaning that you sort of create a micro opening, you move the other way, you create a little bit bigger opening, and boom, now you can come through. Okay, so let's do it again. So he stops my roll. So I will continue to push. If I can keep his hips away, I know he's going to sweep me. I know that's what's going to happen. So now I'm controlling his hips. I want to see where he goes with this. Yeah, he's bringing his right leg in. So go ahead. So I'm pinning his shoulder, guys. It just, I'm doing things that are very subtle that a lot of people. Now I'm going to stay in the omoplata and I'm going to backstep. So my arm is trapped, but now his mobility is severely impacted. That might be an understatement. Now I'm going to control his head. I'm going to kind of let go of my arm. It's still trapped, but it really, right now he's not threatening me. So I will just wait till I can weave my arm out, and now I'm going after him. Oh yeah, this is going to happen. So again, guys, I discourage you from looking for magic. I know this sometimes looks like magic, but the reason it looks like magic is two. First of all, we're not going balls to the wall. We're not going full force. And two, I've been training for a long time. So it takes time to develop those subtle angles and things that suddenly you look like you're in trouble, and the next thing you know, you're out of it and he's in trouble. But, there is no, like, oh, wow, you learned this move and everything, there's no magic, number one takedown, number one, submission. It's sort of nonsense, because it depends on the context, depends on your who's your opponent, depends on, are you, doing gi with, where a lot of times we tend to use judo style takedowns. Are you doing no gi, which is more wrestling style takedowns? Although you can mix and match. It's the same thing with offense or defense. There is no number one. There's no sort of like, this is it. This is the answer to all your problems. No, guys. like we talked about very early on, use the correct tool for the job. In this case, you know, he's stopping my roll. So he stopped my roll. Now, yeah, he let my arm slip. So this time he did a much better job. So now I'm looking for the underhook again, so I can get my arm back. I just took the bottom of cross side. But when I took the bottom of cross side, I wound up with an underhook. So although I know he's going to try to counter me, so I opt for an arm lock. Okay? So it's, every one of them is different. You saw that this one, I literally had to put myself in a very bad position because that was the only thing available for me. It was either let him get a submission or put myself in a bad position. The one before, he wasn't so ready for me. I made it into a thing of beauty. But
A lot followed up with, up until now, I thought that if I can't roll, it's the end of it. You just gave me a way out. Brilliant.
no, it's never the end until you tap. Or the fat lady sings in the opera. So, do we have other questions? All right, guys, so let's look at another escape, which is sort of, this is like when you're really deep into it. I'm going to let him do it because basically it involves lifting heavyweight. Yes, I consider myself a heavyweight.
Or you're considering me stronger.
No, I consider myself heavyweight. Ultra heavy, guys. And I will demonstrate after. First, I'll let him do his thing. So this time, I attack Enrique. And as I'm, you know, as basically, like, now it's getting close to the end. This is close to him being submitted. Okay? So, up until this point, if I was in Enrique's shoes, I would have used the other escapes we played around with. Played around with? No, we studied. So, right now, though, it's getting close. Like, if I get my hips off the ground, he's going to be tapping. So, when you get caught in sort of late stages, what you're going to do now is basically you're going to dive your right, in this case, outside shoulder underneath and lift. So let's look at that escape again. It looks beautiful, right? You don't worry, you still get to escape. One more time. All right. So I know on the surface, this looks like the escape to go with, right? Look. I went for OMOPLATA. He was in late stages, and voila. He's on top, dominating me. Well, let me show you how it usually goes. Come on. You said you were stronger. So, guys, now you know why I consider myself ultra heavyweight. One more time from the other side. You complain you're not lifting. I'm giving you a chance to lift. Heavy, ultra heavy men. So, again, he gets caught in late stages. Say goodnight. So what I do differently between the two that work magically well and the two that work magically well, that's my good one, work magically well for me. So guys, you can see the two extremes. ultimately it comes down to execution, timing, technique. Who has better technique? Who has better timing? Who has better execution? There is no magic in jiu-jitsu. Okay? So can people tell me what was the difference between the two?
Magic.
We gotta, guys, we gotta have somebody knit us a dunce cap for such special occasions. You're gonna be sitting in the corner facing the wall. Is that even allowed in schools these days? I know I see a lot in the cartoons.
Kanai Kiyoshi says, you used your hands to keep your balance so he cannot off-balance you. Alasa Pierce says, you posted with your hand and stopped the roll. Ryan D'Souza says, and the ones that failed, Enrique couldn't get under you.
Some good answers. So what I do now is normally I'm trying to sit up. So hold on one second. If I'm trying to continue to try to sit up, I'm going to be very light. So instead of sitting up, I sink back. Dead weight. Dead weight, guys. Dead weight. Am I ultra heavy?
No.
Or what?
No.
Am I ultra heavy?
No.
Don't make me counter.
No.
So even though Enrique refuses to accept the undeniable fact that I am ultra heavy, I'm still sitting on his face. So I'm leaning, guys, rather than try to get up, I lean somewhat back, but not too far back. So all my weight is in my hips, dead weight. And then when he finally brings me on to the other side, I will just back step, and now I will attack. Yeah, this time you're gonna have to concede that I am ultra heavy. Am I ultra heavy? So, do you guys understand, again, we talk specifically about technique, but also the idea that there is no specific beautiful technique that gets you out of trouble or submits everybody. You have, again, it comes down to who's better. What does that mean? It could mean a lot of things. Who's better? Sometimes could be the guy that's slightly stronger if the skill gap, there's no skill gap. Could means that the guy had better timing, better technique, better execution. Ultimately, guys, me personally, I don't try to work on my strength. Me personally, I work on my technique, timing, and execution. Because that will prevail at the end of the day.
Dave Jocelyn says, Enrique lost his power source when the stash came off.
That's why he ripped it off.
Yeah, I pasted on myself in the back of my head. So I increased my ultra heavy power.
And Dave Jocelyn is asking, when Enrique turned under you, is he giving you an armbar?
Not really. No, it's very difficult to, because the hand that goes on the bottom, it goes under both your legs, so it's not between your legs. So right now, you can see his right arm is almost like under my hips, right? So I could transition possibly this one, the one that I already have trapped, but it involves a bit of a risk, although it is very unexpected for the guy on the bottom. So I bring my leg over. He's not giving it to me, guys. This is somewhat unexpected. Not a lot of people do it like this. And that's one of the reasons why it's so unexpected to do that. But again, it involves like that movement of my own leg is big. which if the guy expects it, he has time and space to retract his arm. But because it's so unexpected, it works sometimes. Sometimes I will use that. So let's look at it one more time. Which side you want?
Whichever one you want.
Whichever is more flexible arm. Oh, I know that it's the other one. So I'm battling here, right? So my angle is not the best, but it works. Do we have any other questions on this omoplata defense, guys? Can you think of any other omoplata defense?
The toe hold.
Yeah, this is on the video with Firas too, but so. So guys, this is a theoretical defense. I got caught in it once. It hurts, but anytime I feel, so if I feel him even touching my foot, I bring it out. Why don't you follow? Yeah, why don't you follow? Oh, how have tables turned? Yes. Okay, I'm back in offensive mode, guys.
I was paying attention.
Did I get 2 points for this? Maybe. But even better yet, guys, I get satisfaction. My job well done. So again, you could see, especially with omoplata, there's a lot of movement, inversions, rolling under that happen, and that's the reason why people, when they get in trouble in your guard, that's what they're going to give you is omoplata.
2 more questions before we close out.
Yes.
And lots of peers asking, do you recommend to possess a lot of tools that we don't master completely or fewer tools that we master to perfection?
You will never master anything to perfection. So you probably want to have, when you first start out, you want to have a somewhat limited game. But as you progress through the ranks, you need to start to broaden your horizons because people will figure out counters to your tools. So you do want to work on 2 fronts. You want to continue to perfect and improve the tools that you have, but also bring in new tools. Generally, I'm in favor of bringing tools that are most closely related to your game, but you want to work both fronts. Because if you know, like I know Bruce Lee said, I don't fear a man that had done 1,000 techniques once. I fear a man 10,000 techniques once, but I fear a man that did, one technique 10,000 times. Well, there is no reason for you to have, 15 techniques that you did 10,000 times. So again, you don't want to be a one-trick pony. Because eventually people will figure out how to counter you. That said, I am a fan of constantly perfecting the things that I know very well. There's certain things I know. What did we drill a couple of days ago? Udigatami, follow-ups. Guys, Udigatami is really, really good. But I always want to drill it. I want to continue to hone it and continue to not just hone that aspect, get better at it, but also constantly evolve and pick up, counters to their counters. All right, and what's the other question, Mike?
Kiyoshi is asking, Professor, in your book you explain omoplata enhancement modified toe hold. How can we escape from it?
Oh, I think it's this one. Can you sit out?
Oh, yeah. Tap, tap.
Oh, shit. I guess you can't.
Well, that'll let you say it.
You do it to me.
He said yes.
So apparently my ankle popped. So that's one way to escape. But what you have to do is when you're caught in a double submission, you have to figure out which one is causing you more pain. And you have to basically alleviate the pain on that one. In this particular case, it was my ankle that was causing me more pain. But it allowed me to loosen up my arm and shoulder to the point where now I could push my foot out. If I was fully warmed up, maybe my ankle wouldn't have popped, but
I should have stretched.
I should have stretched. Yes, yes, Enrique. You have. I'll be moving. So let's look at it again. Oh wait, I'm doing it. So, first of all, this is a problem. So what I need to do is, I'm stretching my leg, all right, which lightens up the toe hold. At the same time, you can see the only way he can keep my arm is by sitting up. The reason why my arm gets trapped in an omoplata is because if he sits up. If he doesn't sit up, my arm is going to slide out. So I'm trying to flex. If you get caught, guys, already like in this position, this is going to be a problem. So you try to flex your ankle and push. Try not to kick your training partner in the face while you're doing this, unless there's a reason for that. And now, guys, notice that I'm keeping my arm there. Hold on one second. Stop progressing your position because I will go after you. So I am keeping my arm there for a split second now because I neutralized the toe hold. But now I don't want to just rip out my arm because he's going to take my back. So I want to try to keep him where he is until I can get myself positioned in a slightly better situation. This is going to be a scramble. Whoever sits up first is going to prevail. I'm still going to try to aim to sit up. All right? But even if I can't, that sort of battle back and forth puts me in a better position to tap, to get a regain guard. Okay? So again, when you have a dual submissions at the same time, it's not easy to get out. You just got to deal with the one that's more urgent, so to speak. Usually it's the urgent. If something's about to pop, you got to deal with that one first. Worry about the second one second. That's why one of the best parts is like if you have somebody in a reverse inverted or straight triangle, that part is almost impossible to escape. Not impossible, but it's very difficult to escape. So that secondary submission becomes basically that's usually done.
And his follow-up is, what would you advise to prevent being caught in a double submission situation?
Train with white belts.
I hate to give you this answer because to me, it's a bullshit answer. You get it from, there's a counter to everything, but when you get caught in two submissions at the same time, it's very situation specific. It's not okay. There is no blanket answer across all the dual submissions. It's very situation specific. Like right here, you just saw what I did. If I'm caught in an inverted triangle and a urigatami, or a key lock, I'm going to react differently. Again, I will deal with the one that is the most pressing. The most pressing usually is a joint lock because something's going to pop and possibly break. So usually I deal with that one first, the choke second. But there is no hard and fast rule. If you're being choked, again, I would, if the choke is really on, I would still worry about the joint lock because if the guy doesn't realize that you're out and cranking the joint lock, that might be really problematic. At least you won't feel the pain. But again, there is no sort of blanket answer. This is how you resolve it. It's very situation specific. And just like that, we're out of time, guys. See you tomorrow for episode 80 or 79, whichever it is, because we did lose count. And apparently nobody can remember.
I believe it's 80. Yes,
Tomorrow?
80.
Why? Did somebody respond?
Nah, I just remembered.
Okay. All right, guys. Stay safe. Stay well. We'll see you tomorrow. And try to be considerate.